you are the protector of surrendered souls, and you have been appointed to give employment to us. Therefore we have all come to you for protection. You are not only a king, but the incarnation of God as well. Indeed, you are the king of all kings. You can give us all kinds of occupational engagements, for you are the master of our livelihood. Therefore, O King of Kings, please arrange to satisfy our hunger by the proper distribution of food grains. Please take care of us, lest we soon die for want of food. Purport. It is the duty of the king to see that everyone in the social orders, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, is fully employed in the state, just as it is the duty of the Brahmanas to elect the proper king. It is the duty of the king to see that all of the Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, are fully engaged in their respective occupational duties. It is here indicated that although the people were allowed to perform their duties, they were still unemployed. Although they were not lazy, they still could not produce sufficient food to satisfy their hunger. When the people are perplexed in this way, they should approach the head of government, and the president or king should take immediate action to mitigate the distress of the people. Vayam rajan jatarinha bitapta itagnina kotarastena viksha tomajayata shananam shananyam yaksharito vitikara patirnaha tanobhavani hatu ratavenam Shudharditanam Naradeva Deva Yavana Nakshamaha Ujitorja Vatapatistvam Kilalokapala. Dear King, just as a tree with a fire burning in the hollow of the trunk gradually dries up, we are drying up due to the fire of hunger in our stomachs. You are the protector of surrendered souls, and you have been appointed to give protection to us. Therefore we have all come to you for protection. You are not only a king, but the incarnation of God as well. Indeed, you are the king of all kings. You can give us all kinds of occupational engagements, for you are the master of our livelihood. Therefore, O King of all kings, please arrange to satisfy our hunger by the proper distribution of food grains. Please take care of us, lest we soon die for want of food. So, in this verse, we find a sociological principle, Vedic sociology, government organization, also a political principle, and it's also an economic principle. In academic circles, there's not such a great distinction in certain fields between sociological, economic, political types of knowledge. Here in this verse, the basic problem is the people are hungry. So, one could understand the reasons in various ways. The first and foremost and most obvious way is that previous to the reign of Maharaj Prithu, there was Vena, evil King Vena, who was very much self-centered, egocentrical. He simply wanted everything to be in such a way that his power would increase more and more. He even wanted to replace the demigods as the most powerful person in the universe. He considered himself like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So during his reign, the Mother Earth decided that this king is so bad that I'm going to restrict the supply of food grains, and therefore I'm not going to give as much as formerly. Now, it's not very easy to grow grains when Mother Earth is not cooperating. Therefore, the supply of food was reduced substantially for the people. And, as it is stated in the previous verse, the citizens actually became skinny due to starvation. So right after the coronation of Maharaj Prithu, when he became settled in as king, the citizens came to him and immediately said, "O king," as it is stated here, just as a tree that has some hollow in the middle of it, I don't know if you understand all this word hollow, but in the middle of a tree, when a tree is standing there, There's sometimes a hole in it, big hole, and you can reach in and put things there. Sometimes in a tree that happens. So sometimes also a fire develops there. Very rarely, but sometimes due to some dry twigs or whatever inside, somehow a fire develops. And then it burns very, very, very slowly. Also, it is understood that when there's a fire in a tree, the fire will burn for a long, long time in the roots as it eats out the roots going into the ground. And because of that, it's very difficult to really put out a forest fire. Because even later on, when you think everything is out, the fire is still burning in the roots, and it has the possibility of coming back again if there's more fuel. So the tree, even it be a normal kind of a tree, if it has this hollow with a fire burning in it, it will dry up the whole tree because all of the fluid of the tree will gradually be evaporated. The trees, they have this system of fluids running up and down, from the roots up and back down. So it will be all evaporated by that fire, which is a very small fire. Extremely small fire, even. Just a little tiny fire that's just burning, like a charcoal. Not even a flame, just a heat, just continuously there. But because it's always there, the tree will for sure eventually dry up. And the first symptom will that there will have no more growth. There'll be a lack of luster. The leaves will start to crumple up like this. Similarly, the citizens in the time of Maharaj Vena had a fire burning in their stomachs. They were so hungry. They went to bed hungry. During the day they were hungry. They couldn't eat enough. For those who are working hard, sufficient food is required. For those, of course, who sit around all day and don't do much, one doesn't require that much. But for those who are actually doing physical labor, they burn up a lot of calories and require sufficient supply of food. So, we could open a little more the windows. Just a little more. So, the citizens were feeling very much repressed in that way. They didn't have proper food. So the first thing they did to Maharaj Prithu was they came to him and said, "We're hungry, please feed us." Now this was kind of like a test, a first test of the government. And a very difficult test too, because how is it going to be that all of a sudden there was no food, now there'll all of a sudden be food? How is that going to happen? Very quickly like this. There was no food, now there's food. But Maharaj Prithu, they knew he was special. He was an incarnation of God. They even said so here. You are Naradeva Deva. You are the king of all kings. And the king of all kings, the supreme master of all kings. There's a way to speak about an incarnation of the Lord. Maharaj Prithu is a Shaktavesha avatar, specifically empowered with the potency of the Supreme. So, he, being such a powerful king, and being the incarnation of God, the citizens said, "You are Lokapala, the protector of all of us citizens, so we are hungry. Feed us, please, quickly." So what did he do? He immediately took out his bow and arrows and pointed to the earth and said, "Give grains, or I will kill you." Mother Earth immediately caught on that this was heavy. So she immediately assumed the form of a cow in order to escape without being killed, and ran like anything from the fierce, the anger of Maharaj Prithu. Maharaj Prithu, he knew, she can look like a cow all she likes, but I know who she really is. Can't fool me. This is Mother Earth. Instead of wanting to give grains under my order, now she wants to run away. I will still kill her. And then there was a big chase going on in space, until finally Mother Earth just gave up. and surrendered. So then there was enough grains for everybody. That is basically what is happening here in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, the sociological principle is that the Varnashram system is supposed to satisfy the citizens. Now, of course, in every social organization, the organization is meant to satisfy the citizens. It's just that sometimes it's a dreadful failure. At other times, it engages the citizens in a way which is sinful. If the king engages the citizens in a proper way, then he receives a quarter of their pious results. But if he engages them in a sinful way, he receives a quarter of their impious results. Therefore, we find these former leaders of state in sinful places, they get very much sinful reactions. Even they may be killed in office for the ways in which they are acting. Or they may just suffer like anything out of office. In any case, they have to suffer reactions like that. So, it is the responsibility of the king to make sure that the people are satisfied. It is the responsibility of the people to be always properly engaged. And he was supposed to make sure that they were all acting in the way they were supposed to act. Prabhupada said in the purport before that the Brahmanas, in other words, the Brahmanas, the intelligent men or great sages, would control the monarchical powers. Here we have an indication of how the Brahmanas elected King Prithu to the throne as the protector of the citizens. The citizens, being skinny due to hunger, approached the king and informed him that necessary action should be taken. The structure of the Varnashram Dharma was so nice that the Brahmanas would guide the head of state. The head of state would give then protection to the citizens. So, we find that the intelligent class of men would guide the administrative class. And when there was complaint, the intelligent class would make some arrangement that the administrative class must satisfy the problem. They would take care of the problem. And that was also economic principle. The economy was, this class would produce food, the Vaishyas, the Shudras would help, and the Kshatriyas would make sure they're doing it. And that's also social principle. You cannot separate it at this point. There's also political organization. So, factually, the Varnashram structure very clearly takes care of all the problems, socially, politically, and economically. What to speak of, giving the possibility that the problems, the spiritual problems, can be very nicely taken care of as well. Actually, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada used to say, there's no lack of anything except a lack of Krishna consciousness. There's no lack of anything except a lack of Krishna consciousness. People, they are lacking very much in Krishna consciousness. People nowadays are just so sinful, and they're just so much unconcerned for anything right, anything proper. They don't even care to understand things in terms of an absolute right. They only want to see things in terms of their own minds and own bodies, sense gratification. Therefore, everybody's in Maya. Nate vidu swatakatim hi Vishnu durashaya je bahiratamanina. This is stated by Prahlad Maharaj again. Nobody knows that the goal of life is Vishnu. Neither do they care that the supreme benefit of life is to satisfy the Supreme Lord, because they have taken durashaya, false shelter. They've taken shelter in an improper fashion. They've taken shelter in such a way that they think they are getting a good benefit. In fact, they are simply being cheated. Just like we have found in Argentina in the past, they periodically do this very funny thing. They induce everybody to put all their dollars in the bank. And then they tell it's state guarantee, guaranteed by the state, absolutely protected. Then, Friday night at 6 o'clock, after they have shut down the banks for the day, they declare that now all of your dollars will be exchanged into, at that time it was pesos, at the rate of the official rate. Since nobody in Argentina ever used the official exchange, They only use the number 2 market. Everybody just lost minimum half of their money. This is typical modern organization. Yeah. You may get so many guarantees from the bank. Your money will be forever safe here. Don't you worry. I think they did this in Poland too one day. Yeah. Your money will be forever safe. Don't worry. State guarantee. Then the state cheats you the next day. Yeah. In America, it's a big scandal. But they say the same thing. State guarantee on bank credits. And also on the old age pensions, Social Security. It was revealed quite recently that the government doesn't have any money to pay these things off. And if they have to actually pay everybody, they're just going to raise the taxes. Because they spent all the money in a huge debt. And still everybody's thinking, yes, 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 so safe. Our government will protect us. So safe. Our banks will protect us. Then one thinks just like he goes to the hospital. The hospital will protect us. Actually, there was once one article in America how in Los Angeles all of the doctors went on strike because they weren't getting enough money in the municipal hospitals. Then they found when all the doctors went on strike that the death rate went down. So then they were proposing that they should give up the concept of doctors and less people will die. Of course, that's a joke because it's everybody who's born will die. But it was actually found that 3/5 of the people who entered the hospitals died of diseases they got in the hospitals. These are real statistics. Sometimes we stretch statistics, right? But these are real ones. That the reason is because the place is so full of disease, if you go in there healthy, you get sick. Hmm? So people think, I'm going there to take shelter. Just like this famous demon, Andy Warhol. Don't even like to mention his name in the temple. But anyway, he died in the hospital. And now it's a big scandal. It was found out that the reason he died was because he had some problem with his heart. And it took 3 hours before the doctors came. By that time, he was already dead. He could have been saved easily with an injection of something or other, they say. And then they found out that that hospital was famous for killing people by neglect. And it is the biggest, most famous hospital in New York City. So, there are scandals. You think to go to the hospital, I will be safe and secure. They will take care of me. Ha! That's called Durashaya. That's no shelter. You go to the lawyer. The lawyer says, don't you worry, we're going to win this case. I have faith that this will work. Just have faith in me. The law's on your side. Then you're thinking, sure, okay, great. We're going to win this case. Then you go to court, and of course you lose. Then the lawyer says, don't worry, it was just a bad judge. This man was a fool. We'll go to the next instance. We'll make an appeal. And then you'll be safe there because there are more intelligent judges. Just pay me another 10,000 marks. And we'll make this appeal. You have nothing to worry about. So then you make the appeal. And of course you lose. This way you end up spending so much money. It would have been easier in the beginning just to pay the fine. In this way, lawyers cheat you. Actually, lawyers are the most expert cheaters on the planet, but don't tell anybody I said that. Then, there are all kinds of others. You think there are so many starving people in the world, so I'll give to some welfare organization. And they will protect these others. Durashaya. It has been found that they spend 95% of their money on administrative costs. Then they send 5% to that country where people are starving or something. Then the money arrives and all the local administrators there steal everything and usually sell the goods that they got free on the black market. Durashaya. We can go through this one after another after another. You think your government's taking care of you to protect the environment because they reduce the speed limits on the roads so that the emissions from the exhaust fumes will protect the forests. Durashaya. One survey in Sweden found out that one factory alone was polluting the country more than all of the cars put together. Do you think they will close that factory? No. Durashaya. No way! Because that factory paid so much taxes. They couldn't possibly close it. They needed the money. This is just cheating. And one is thinking that I will be protected. My government will protect me. What do? They simply take your money in taxes. My doctors will protect me. My lawyers will protect me. My tax advisor will protect me. But to speak of, my wife will protect me. Now really, let's talk about that one. How much your wife will protect you. And what she will protect you against. I'm asking our householder devotees here. Protect you against your mind. Protect you against peace of mind. Any other of our household devotees have anything to say about how the wife will protect one? Come on, somebody say something positive. Yes? Yeah? It's always good to show the other side of the story. Keeps a healthy balance here. Anyway, but the Bhagavatam says, Durashaya. Don't expect too much help in that department. And nowadays, then the wife is thinking, my husband will protect me. Of course, to be fair, we should ask the wives out there how much their husbands protect them. Yeah. And mainly what they do nowadays, they leave you with a kid or two and then leave. Go away. Get another wife. Then you're stuck with all these kids. Prabhupada used to talk about this all the time. It's a symptom. Man comes in, makes some children, runs away. Durashaya, for sure. Yeah. And children are thinking parents are protecting them. Yeah. So many children are thinking their parents will protect them, and sometimes they lead them right into Maya. There's also false shelter. As soon as one thinks that someone will protect me outside of Krishna, spiritual master, and pure devotees, he's an illusion. The only ones who can protect you are those who are themselves protected by Krishna. And of course, Krishna is the supreme protector. He says, Kantaya pratijani hiname bhakti pranashati. My devotees shall never be vanquished. The demons may try hard, but they'll just not be able to harm the devotees. Not for a long time. Maybe due to our karma or trouble that is due to us, due to past actions, we may have to suffer a little bit for some time. But ultimately, Krishna will protect one. No one else can protect one. But the king was the empowered representative of Krishna. He represents the potency of the Lord of protection. And therefore, he can actually protect the citizens. Or at least if he's really surrendered to Krishna and is actually powerful, he can actually protect the citizens. That is why the people are always looking for this Ram Rajya, the rule of Lord Ramachandra. Because Lord Ramachandra was the perfect protector of the peoples, and therefore all of the peoples always used to pray to have a king like Lord Ramachandra. If there was any injustice, he would immediately go and correct it. If there was any fault in the government, he would correct it. If the people were hungry, he would correct it. He was very expert at just protecting. This is the principle of Kshatriya. Nowadays, even the so-called presidents of countries, they're not Kshatriyas. They're basically Vaishyas. That's being, shall we say, a little bit magnanimous. But they're basically Vaishyas. They are people who make sure business is going on so they can collect a lot of taxes. This is the modern heads of state. They don't try to protect anybody but the businesses. The big companies can do anything. Just like we were talking the other day in Switzerland, how all the big companies, they have these huge antennas on their roof. And they're all completely illegal. Totally illegal. They're not supposed to have it. But the government simply can't see these antennas. Neither can they monitor them for the shortwave radio that they're not supposed to have. Because they pay so much taxes, they just can't say anything. Because they're just bought off by money. Anyone who can be bought off by money is not a Kshatriya. It's a Vaishya. Vaishyas you can always control by money. Sudras you control by a stick. Kshatriyas you cannot control by money or stick, only by force, power, pure power, physical power. And the Vaishyas cannot maintain any physical power. So, the modern leaders of state are completely overwhelmed by money. Money talks, nobody walks. Money the honey. Just to have this money, this is the perfection. But the kings would not be ruled by money. Therefore, they could actually protect people. Even when kings were fighting with each other, the people were protected. Because that fight went on somewhere else. Not in the city. It went on in a battlefield. Like a football field. But it was a battlefield. A lot bigger, of course. And there the two sides lined up on either side. And they went at each other. Now that protected the citizens. Because the citizens were far away. They were never involved in such battles. Neither kings, even if they're envious like anything of each other, they never would attack citizens of state. On either camp. There was no such thing in the Vedic culture. This started later on when Kali Yuga came in. That instead of attacking armies, they would attack the citizens. And even later on now, in the modern 20th century, they figured out how to blow up all the citizens with atomic bombs, hydrogen bombs, neutron bombs. Unheard of in Vedic culture and civilization. But as Kali Yuga goes on, the concept of protection is totally lost. And war means you kill everybody. And when nobody's left, then whoever's standing, he's the victor. So this has nothing to do with a Vedic civilization. Nobody's actually protected in the modern society. Factually speaking, one has always caused trouble in different ways. Another example of Durashaya. When normal people just walk into the borders, they make a big show of checking you for drugs. But everybody knows which street corner you can buy whatever you want in unlimited quantities. The police also know. They know exactly where they're standing. They know who they are. They know their first names even. And they're even taking from those persons too. But when you enter the country, they make a big show. Let's see what you have here. All right. And then he stands on the street corner selling anything you want. It's completely nonsense. This is known throughout the world. This way they keep the agitated elements of society dull. It's all trickery. There's no protection there. In America, everybody knows the police could shut down the mafia in 2 days if they wanted to. In 2 days, there would be no more mafia. Everybody knows this. Because they're being paid off. Such corruption like anything. The whole world is filled with this business. Money talks. If you got money, you can do anything you want. But this is simply cheating. The cheating process of Kali Yuga. Bluffing, cheating. And the whole world is filled with bluffers and cheaters. Therefore, every civilization that's actually progressive and wants to have spiritual values must have a king. Of course, nowadays to say like this, extremely unpopular. But if you really want to have spiritual life, there must be someone powerful to make sure the whole thing is held together. But he must be placed in that position by the brahmanas. Extremely intelligent, not just any brahmana, but those brahmanas who were specifically empowered to take care of administrative types of understanding. They're called Srikarya Brahmanas. They were the ones who used to make sure that the state was running very nicely. They had all the ministerial duties. They were very intelligent in practical affairs, because not every Brahmana is very together. Not every Brahmana can run a government. Of the 14 kinds of Brahmanas, the Srikarya Brahmanas were very expert in making sure that the governmental affairs were going on very properly. Then above them were the sages, who used to stay in the forest and were simply engaged in pure spiritual practices. So, the Vedic civilization had a very strong, powerful spiritual center. Therefore, the people had the possibility of developing spiritually. If you don't have such powerful persons making sure that things are going right, then everybody will take advantage. Just like Kali Yuga, immediately as soon as Krishna left, Maharaj Parikshit was later on put into the throne after Maharaj Yudhisthira left. Immediately Kali Yuga came out, dressed like a king, and immediately started to cause trouble to a cow and a bull. But then also immediately Maharaj Parikshit stopped him, ready to kill him. He wasn't going to fool around while some court figured out whether he was guilty or not. He saw this person is harming the cow and the bull dressed like a king. He should be executed immediately. He understood immediately the laws of Dharma, the religious principle. It wasn't like doubtful. All the time had to be checked out, this and that. This was direct aggression. Aggressor was to be killed. Especially if he's in the dress, false dress of a person he's not. Especially the dress of a king. This is the greatest cheating. Immediately sword was out. No hesitation. And Kali, because he's Kali, he knew immediately what to do. Because he also knows the religious principles, just to pollute them. He immediately dove at the feet of Maharaj Parikshit and said, "Now I'm surrendered to you, you can't kill me." Of course he didn't say it like that. He was very much more expert at saying it. But that's what he said. Yeah. Okay, religious principle says you should kill me, that's alright, but I'm surrendering to you now, so religious principle says you can't do it. These types of personalities are expert at using religious principles to completely thwart the whole purpose of religious principles. Yeah. That's one of the most expert things in the age of Kali. Yeah. It even states that the demons have taken birth in the families of Brahmanas in the age of Kali. Just to thwart the religious principles. Just like in some communist countries, the government puts as the head priest that, one of their agents, just to make sure that nobody says anything spiritual. Otherwise there'll be trouble here, because it'll be religion. Yeah. As long as one talks about some moral principles, do good, be good, don't cheat, don't steal, go to work every day, and follow all the laws of the state, then this is very good religion. And if the religion would say something that was spiritual, then everybody would get in trouble. So, the real problems come when there's no proper leadership. This is a problem throughout the world. When there's no proper leadership, the rogues and rascals and thieves and cheaters and agents of Kali run rampant throughout the whole society, cheating and taking advantage of everyone. Therefore, the whole Vedic structure depends on a powerful authority to make sure that no thieves and rogues shall steal from or exploit the people in general. Now, one will say, how is it going to be possible that we'll ever establish such things in the modern society? Yes, that's a good question. And we're also not sure. But we know one thing. The only method is to just distribute these literatures. Can you imagine when a person who's being exploited by the material society reads this pastimes of Maharaj Prithu, finds out how wonderful Maharaj, he'll immediately say, yes, where's this Vedic culture? Where's this king? We want this king. Yeah. Everybody wants to be happy. It was just that the kings of the Kali Yuga, being so degraded, started to exploit people much worse than any thief or rogue or rascal could ever do. Therefore, communism came, or the modern democracy came, as a direct reaction against cheating leadership. But that did not mean the solution. That did not bring the solution either. So therefore, education is the solution. Education of the masses of people. And therefore, education is based on books. So let us bring these literatures of spiritual education, which are filled with all social, economic, political principles, for the sake of the people of this world. Let us educate. And Srila Prabhupada, above all, is the supreme educator. We wouldn't know anything about Krishna were it not for him. We would not have any of these literatures. Nobody else has even come close to presenting these most important literatures. He's the only one. Therefore, it is to him who we owe our Krishna consciousness entirely. But let us now give this same benediction, blessing, to the people of this world by giving them these literatures more and more. Then, in fact, gradually, people will change. They will not want a leader of state who does not protect them on the basis of the Vedic principles. Then they will elect only one who wants to follow the Vedic principles. Since we follow democratic system, then they should elect democratically a Krishna-conscious person. Actually, people like this. In America, a long time ago, we had for a short while our In God We Trust party. Because in the American dollar it says In God We Trust. So this is since it's on the money, it's Shastra. So we it's kind of had an In God We Trust party. So in some cities, many thousands of people voted for our candidate. And it became very shocking to the local politicians that a Hare Krishna devotee, preaching as a Hare Krishna devotee, preaching purely In God We Trust, would get so many thousands and thousands of votes. It just really shook up the whole political structure. So in fact, people want, at least a lot of people want. And it is to their benefit and to our benefit to simply give them this knowledge. Even they may not appreciate the way we look or what we might do sometimes, but still they have to appreciate these books. You simply have to appreciate these books. Only demons don't appreciate. Even demons appreciate them. They think if these books go out anymore, we're in trouble. So in that way they appreciate them. Therefore they want to stop the book distribution. But they cannot. Therefore, basically, they've given up trying. Have you noticed? Since we installed Lord Nrsingadev, how little trouble we have had in this regard? It's a fact. Because the demons just can't figure out how to stop book distribution. So now, because it's sour grapes, they say, anyway, nobody cares about these books. Okay. If they want to say like that, that's all right. But we know better. Therefore, we're just going to keep going on steadily, bringing these literatures of Srila Prabhupada to the people of this planet, so they can actually understand how to go, in which direction to go for their own best benefit of life. All right, so we're going to stop here because actually we all have to move out into our preaching fields in order to accomplish that very wonderful mission that Srila Prabhupada has given us. And since it's 7 minutes till Prasadam, I've been told, and since everybody is eager to jump into the preaching activities, let us all just, with great enthusiasm, just immediately jump up and enthusiastically go out and spread Krishna consciousness. Are there any objections? If there are any objections, you can make them and just walk outside and go right out the door. And on the street, you can object all you like. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Harikesa Swami,